It's Friday night, or Friday evening, 6 o'clock, and it's the Friday real estate check-in. So, your questions, my answers, as far as real estate goes. So, if you're on here, if you do hop on here and you have any questions or anything, feel free to ask me any questions below in the comments. But for the most part, just here to be able to just provide value to you guys about real estate and what's going on here locally. And so on Fridays, I'll be checking in with you guys and just kind of going over the market, questions that I've got, and just giving you insight. So I'm gonna do a short presentation tonight um, on real estate and what's going on locally. On real estate and what's going on locally. And if you guys have any questions while I'm doing presentation, feel free to jump in and ask. And so basically, I'm trying to touch on points or things that people have asked me throughout the course of the week or the month, or just people that just interested in what real estate is doing right now. And for this presentation, if you want to see some of the slides and stuff that I'm talking about, you can watch it live on my business page, Sean Stewart at Century 21 Home Team Realty.com. And so, or not .com, Sean Stewart at Century 21 Home Team Realty on Facebook. So I'm gonna just go ahead and jump into it. I'll look for comments, or if anybody's got any questions or anything about what I'm talking about, feel free to comment away. Um, and so one of the things that a lot of people are anticipating is that the homes will depreciate. And so over the last 12 months, about one in every four people think that home prices will depreciate. Well, the actual opposite is happening right now. And so instead of homes um, depreciating, they're continuing to appreciate. If you listen to my live the other day, last Friday, I was talking about a healthy appreciation, which means you know the rate at which your house increases in value is 1 to 5% a year. And just over the last year, that number has been roughly around 1% of appreciation, which is less than what it had been in the last 2 to 3 years, which is really a good thing because we don't want home values to keep going up 20, 30, 40% year over year. And so, what is going on now is just really, kind of a trip back to the norm, pre 2020, pre pandemic, when, houses appreciate at 1 to 5% a year. And so uh, that is what's happening now. And so what you have is you have a lot of people that might be able to buy a house right now that are just sitting on the sideline saying, "Hey, I'm gonna just wait until interest rates go down." Well, one in every four people is thinking the same thing that you do. And if rates did start to go down, then those people would be trying to jump back into the buying pool, which is um, which is going to make home prices. It's going to be a competitive market, and it could make home prices go up even higher. So if you're qualified now and you can buy a house now, my suggestion to you would be not to wait because you can't time the market. But what you can do is that after you get into that house, you can then refinance when rates start to go down to get to a payment that you really would like to be at. But it's hard with the way that prices have increased over the last couple of years to be able to find a house that fits the budget that you want, just because interest rates are so high right now. And so, just for the year, the change and appreciation in the top 20 cities, I would say in Detroit, which you've seen a lot on the news, there's been an 8% increase of home prices over the last year. And the city with the lowest amount would be Portland, which was only up roughly about, actually it was down 0.7%. And so, across the board, it's anywhere from staying flat to increasing up to 8% year over year, which, 8% is still pretty high for appreciation for a year over year basis. And so basically, over a 43-year average. And again, if you want to see the slides that I'm talking about, you can go to my Facebook business page, Sean Stewart at Century 21 Home Team Realty, and it has the slides that I'm talking about right now. But over the last 46 years or 43 years, the average annual appreciation is 4.86%. The only years in the last 43 years that home prices didn't appreciate was between 2008 and 2012. So if you're, the good thing about it is if you're in a house, you're going to be one of those people that is going to be able to take advantage of that appreciation that happens typically year over year. And again, getting in is better than waiting for something catastrophic to happen, because in most cases, it may affect your income as well. And then you may not be in a position to be able to buy at that time either. So it's just, the advice going into it is getting into the game if you can get qualified and you can afford it. So just over the last 30 years, if you bought a house 30 years ago, your home has probably increased about 297% in value. So that is the benefit of owning a home, as opposed to in the last 10 years, if you own a house, your house has gone up 100%. So it's doubled in value from the time that you bought it about 10 years ago. And if you bought it within the last 5 years, it's a very strong possibility that your property values could have gone up, anywhere from 30 to 50%. Just in the last 5 years. And most of that was over the last 2 to 3 years, where, people were just in a frenzy buying houses in rural and suburban areas, trying to get out of the cities, and drove the prices up, in those rural and suburban areas. People had equity in the homes that were in major metropolitan areas or areas outside of it. They were able to refi those houses and use a lot of cash out of those houses to be able to buy houses here locally, like in Sussex County and the Delmarva Peninsula area. And so, like, the forecast, for what most of the people are saying as far as people involved in real estate, Goldman Sachs, Zillow, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, National Association of Realtors, is that over the next 12 to 24 months, it's anywhere between the standard 1 to 5% increase in property values. Now, the one thing that is changing because of inflation is that they were anticipating that interest rates were going to be dropping, throughout the year. The Fed is coming out and saying that, hey, look, we're not going to touch interest rates right now because the numbers that are coming out associated around inflation is a little too high, and we don't think that we're on stable grounds. How does that affect you? If you're a buyer, that means that rates are going to continue to stay up. They're right around 6.5%, between 6.5% and 7% right now. And as long as inflation numbers stay high, that interest rate is going to stay higher. I talked about it last week. I won't go into it this week, but the federal rate is at 4%, and the lending rate right now is about 6.9%. So the money that the Fed's lending to the banks, they're charging them 4%, and the money that the bank is then lending to you, they're charging 6.9%. So that's the spread and the margin that they're able to operate off of. And so, as long as that rate for the Fed stay at 4%, you're probably going to see interest rates be in the mid to upper sixes until the Fed start to go down in rates, which they anticipated it may be down in the 5s by the end of the year. But as of right now, with them not making any changes, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. And a lot of professionals, in real estate, kind of have that same feeling that they're going to stay where they are right now until the Feds feel like they've got a good hold on the economy. Um, and so, some of the things that, that are terms that are going around in real estate is that are deterring buyers and sellers from making moves in the market is a term that's called switching costs, which is, the alternative from switching. People were looking at houses when they were at 4% and they couldn't get in, when they had a 4% interest rate and they couldn't get into a home. And then those homes appreciated in value, and then interest rates went up to 6%, 6.5%. Those same people that were looking, now they're looking at paying almost double what they were going to pay for a mortgage if they could have gotten a home when that frenzy was going on. So you have a lot of people that are on the outside looking in, that are frustrated because they couldn't get a house when they really wanted to because of the competition and some of the offers that people were making. And now they're looking at what they could have got to what they're able to get now, and they just don't feel comfortable with making that purchase because the house is probably smaller or in a different location than what they were looking at a year, 2, 3 years ago. But it's just because of the change in the appreciation of houses and the increase in interest rates. The other thing that that is happening right now is kind of a seller impatience, which uh, is somewhat where sellers, there's not enough motivation there for a seller to want to move from their current house, go through the hassle of packing up, moving, getting offers, negotiating, and trying to find something bigger that they can move up to or move into another area that they want to be in. And then the cost associated with that of they probably in a mortgage that is at 4.5% or below, and they don't want to make that move to go into a 6.5 or 6% mortgage rate. And so a lot of them are just staying put. And then the other thing that is something to look out for, and something that always happens in the market, is lifestyle changes. So some things that are going to happen are, people are going to get they're going to get pregnant, they're going to get married, they're going to get divorced, they're going to get relocated because of their job. Those things are always going to be happening in real estate, and so those are always going to provide you an opportunity to be able to get into the market. And a lot of times those people are extremely motivated. So when they put their house on the market, they have it priced right, and they're anticipating offers coming in, and they're ready to take a good solid offer. So when you see a house, if you're looking and you're in the market right now, and you see a house that's priced right, or it's like, why is that house priced the way that it is? Typically that's an indicator of a very motivated seller, somebody who wants to put the house on the market. They don't want to spend a lot of time with a lot of people coming in and out, so they price it aggressively, so that they can get a lot of people in at one point in time, get a highest and best offer, or negotiate a highest and best offer, and then be able to move on with whatever life change occurred for them. And so and then the other question that I get is like home sales. And so one of the statistics that I thought was pretty enlightening was the amount of inventory right now in our area compared to 2019. So in 2019 there was about 2,600 homes on the market in Sussex County, and right now there are about 1,400 homes that are on the market in Sussex County. And if you take out houses that have land rent, so houses that you have to pay a lot rent on, or you're renting the ground, if you take those houses out of the market, we have about 1,100 homes on the market. And then out of those 1,100 homes, if you take out the homes that are single family homes, that leaves us about 988 homes that are on the market. And if you want to drill that number down even more, and you say out of that 900 detached fee simple homes, if they're already existing, so no new construction. So if you drill all of those numbers down, you're left with about 489 homes on the market right now. And I would say if you're watching this live or you're watching this video and it replays, you probably personally know 4 to 5 people that are actively looking for a house right now. And so that gives you an idea of just the lack of inventory that's there. That's why it still seems like if you're going out looking for a house, that it's still a lot of competition, and it's a very low supply of homes that are available and ready for people to move into right now. And so that's why it still kind of feels the same way if you're a buyer and you're looking in the market. And as a seller, that's why, when if you're ready to put your house on the market and you put it at a good and an aggressive list price, you're going to have multiple offers and you're going to have multiple people looking at your property, and it's not going to take very long for it to sell. And so, and then the last thing, which I touched on again last week, is a lot of people are waiting for the disclosed and the distressed property. So one of the things that I do, I'm always looking at foreclosure notices, foreclosure sales of properties that are distressed, or owners that are distressed. They might be behind in the mortgage. Even the houses that are going to foreclosure are being bought at the foreclosure sale by investors. Those investors are then fixing those houses up and selling them at a retail value. So the one part of the market that used to be there for people who were trying to get a really, really good deal, investors are buying those before they even get to the market, and they're coming on, fully renovated, updated kitchens and bath, exteriors, and they're just your standard resale homes. And so we will be seeing a little bit more of that inventory coming, but it's still going to be lower than what it has been in years past. Usually it's been about 4% of the market in general that has been foreclosures or short sales, and right now that number is at 2%. So it's half of what it was going into the pandemic. And if you were looking for a house, or you looked at foreclosure properties during that time, you knew how hard it was to be able to find something at that point in time. And so that is another thing that people keep saying, hey, when is that next wave of foreclosures going to come? I don't see it coming anywhere in the near future, because those properties are getting bought up in the wholesale market before they even hit the market, and they're being resold as move-in ready houses. So that is pretty much it. That's what I wanted to kind of talk about tonight. Didn't get any questions, but just wanted to give you an overview, something that you can go back and look at, and get an idea for what is going on, what you should be thinking if you're a seller, what you should be thinking about if you're a buyer, and as far as interest rates, where they could be trending to go and what to listen for. When you hear inflation's higher and higher and higher, that means interest rates are going to be higher and higher and higher. But if you hear that inflation is going down, then interest rates will follow that, as long as the Feds feel comfortable that it's going to continue to trend in that direction. But as a buyer, it's still a great time to buy. Because most people are waiting, or one in every 4 people are waiting, because they're thinking that prices are going to go down. If you're a seller, it's still extremely low inventory, and you got a great opportunity to be able to get multiple offers on your properties and sell them fairly quickly. Average market time right now is about 30 days, and that is a short amount of time. It's not the 14 days or 7 days that it was when we were knee deep in the pandemic, but it's certainly not the 9 months that it was prior to. So hope you find this information helpful, and just share the video, and remember to ask me questions. I know there's a ton of questions about real estate. That's one of the biggest thing of being able to build generational wealth for families. It starts with buying your first house, building up that equity that I was talking about, and then borrowing against that equity to start your first business, to buy another real estate property that will allow for you to be able to generate passive income. And so it's a gateway to success. So again, thanks for tuning in. And I'll see you next week.